Hello and welcome. My name is Rob Simonds, and I'm the board president of the Downtown Chamber Series. In advance of our concerts on October 13 and 14, I'm joined by one of our star performers, Yumi La Rosa. Welcome, Yumi.
Thank you for having me, Rob.
So, Yumi, this program is all flamenco. Tell us about what the audience might expect, what they might expect to see, what they might expect to hear, and tell us what your role in the performance is.
They're gonna see a great performance, of course. It's gonna be an interaction between or amongst the artists. So I'll be a dancer. We have a guitarist, flautist, and a singer in the show. And I'll be dancing, and you'll see different programs throughout. Um, when I'm mainly like kind of like a conductor in a sense when I'm dancing a solo piece. Um, so then I will give some signals to, for the guitars to come in or singer to like start singing and so forth. So
That's so interesting. So tell me more about, because I want to know too. How is the music inseparable from the dance and the dance from the music? In other words, you said that in some places you play the conductor, but are there other places where the music leads the dancer?
not necessarily leads, but there is a section that the guitar will be featured. And like there are sections that singers will be featured or flautists will be featured. But when I'm dancing solo, it is me like organizing the piece.
Does that mean that when we say someone's featured, is the dancer recede into the background, or do you?
It'll be front. I am still dancing. So for instance, when the singer is singing, I might not do a lot of footwork.
What are some of the things? So we have these ideas in our head about what flamenco is like, and there's all the shouts and the costumes and the serious demeanor. Can you tell us about what some of those things mean? And where do they come from in the tradition?
So the flamenco is like mixed culture. Of course, gypsies take a lot of influence in developing and evolving flamenco, the art of flamenco. But the most popular theory is that the northern gypsies traveled through Middle East, through North Africa, and settled in southern Spain. So from there has like a different mixed cultures, Moorish, Jewish, Christianity, and did I miss it? And then the Gypsy culture, and then the Andalusian culture, the southern Spain cultures, all mixed together. The shouting is to encourage. So it's kind of like a somewhat communication between the audience, not just among audience, but among the artists as well. When we see something, we just give them encouragement. So that's the shouting part of it. Um, and then also the seriousness is because how it was developed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of them were prosecuted or they have to suppress their beliefs. So at that time, with the conversion of like Christianity or the yeah.
Right. So you made the point that so there's this embedded in the tradition is Middle Eastern, Jewish, Gypsy, Christian traditions, and that settled, to my understanding, in southern Spain in the 18th century.
Before, like more or less 15th century, and then from there it's evolved,
Mm-hmm.
and then like what you see is probably the evolvement of flamenco. So like how it started is more or less it was to shout about the frustration of they couldn't like show their cultures, right? Like they had to be suppressed about their own culture. They had to convert or they had to uh, put high respect towards Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why there's a seriousness into it. And then, but also there are happy side to it too in flamenco.
And there are different kinds of dances within that tradition. There's like three dances, I understand it, right? There's three different types of dances.
More than three. The singing was the part, major part of it. So there, we call it flamenco trees, and then there's like mainly like happy side, and then little more seriousness part of it. Cante hondo is the serious one. Cante chico is more like happy side, and then from there, there's so many genre.
Mm-hmm. So even World War II, I know that it became something of a symbol of Spanish nationalism. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then how has the dance evolved in the 20th and 21st century?
A lot of foreigners go visit Spain and then they see flamenco and then they are like, wow, right? So like it became more like theatrical, not just dance in the backyard at home to or like in front of the king's court. It became more like a theatrical and then start evolving more different music, different instrument, different styles combined. So I really think the art has evolved beautifully and um, allowing to keep growing and keep evolving.
And that's a good segue. So for foreigners or outsiders seeing the music and being drawn to it, that somewhat tells your story too. Could you tell us about how you became
How
introduced to it and how your own journey has evolved through this tradition?
Sure. It's kind of weird how I encountered or discovered flamenco because I really didn't know what I was watching on TV, but I saw a movie. Um, it's called Carmen. There's an opera, but there's a flamenco Carmen. And then I was very intrigued by that movie and then left me a deeper impression. So that's how I knew somewhat about this art form. I just didn't know that was flamenco. Now I started here taking flamenco class, and then I realized that was the art form that I watched on TV. And then so I started here with Lydia Torrea. I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico for a festival, flamenco festival, and I saw the artists from Spain, and that led me to Spain. So I went to Sevilla and Madrid and enriched my study there because it's.
Had you trained in any other dance traditions before you were introduced to flamenco?
I did study modern dance. So my flamenco would be kind of mixed, not just flamenco, but I have my modern dance background.
How do those two complement each other?
I think it's my style, and then that's my interpretation of the art form. So that's me, like, so I think it's good. My past and then current experiences enhance my dance style. So,
Did you have to like unlearn any habits of modern dance and technique to learn something new in flamenco?
um, not necessarily unlearn, but I think I'm learning to put more like dynamics of the movements instead of just flowing. I want to put, a little more um like a sudden stop or like a little more strength to my movements because my tendency is to like just flow, like that's that's my strength. But at the same time, I want to show, little more dynamics within my dance. So I'm trying to like, you know, put a little bit more of that, like a little more hard cut. They call it seco, like a dry movement. I want to do that.
Is there somebody like you would recommend we go watch or listen to in advance, like to see that style, or are there contrasts between that flowing and secco style?
Gosh, I mean, there's so many great dancers, and then they're like on YouTube videos. So like you can put like a best flamenco dancers, and then I'm sure they'll come up, or best flamenco, guitarists, and then they'll come up. And there's so many great artists, and I just when I go to Spain, I'm in awe. like they are so good and so dedicated.
Hmm. Well, this has been really interesting to get this very high overview of the history and tradition in your own place in Yumi, and I'm excited to attend these concerts with the audience and learn about it and watch you perform. Again, the concerts are October 13 and 14. That's a Sunday and Monday at 7:30 p.m. And they're at Legend City Studios, a place we're all very familiar with, and we set amidst the annual Chaos Theory exhibit with 60 or so different Phoenix-based artists exhibiting their work. So thank you for tuning into this pre-concert talk. For tickets to these programs, please visit downtownchamberseries.org, and that link will be below. And thank you, Yumi, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm looking forward to this performance. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.